guys, what's up? It's Cecily from Drive Girl Drive, and I have another treat for you today. I'm with my homie, Justin Erinn. Yay! Justin is a singer, songwriter, and producer, and what's even more cooler than all that, I actually rode in Justin's Uber. Yeah. So that's how we met. So, I mean, am I still as beautiful as I was that day?
Of course. I have more beard and...
Yeah, definitely. He's grown so much. It's been like, 3-4 months?
Mm-hmm.
So please tell everybody what you do out here.
So I am a transplant from Arizona. Came here a couple years ago to pursue music. I'm a singer-songwriter by trade. I've basically been singing since I could talk, playing guitar since high school. I do a lot of like soul music with acoustic vibes, you know.
And it's very, very nice, ladies.
Thank you.
I'm scared to open up for the fear of what might come out. How can you let someone in when you've been so filled with doubt? I have never been this afraid to give myself away.
Yeah, and so then I started working with a singing, songwriting team, production team, and we started creating all this different type of music that I'd never really done before. And I started producing. Mm-hmm. So now I'm making everything from like top 40s pop to trap to folk to it's very cool. It's very fun.
This is so cool. I didn't even know that. Yeah. What's your personal style? What's Justin Erinn style?
So I would say my voice has a lot of soul R&B tendencies to it.
Baby, I know you know how to make me jealous, yeah. I was never loyal, let you tell it, yo, but I'm ready to fix it if you ready, baby. So just give me only you in exchange for
you can compare me to Bieber, you can compare me to Timberlake.
I mean, those are good comparisons.
Yeah, kind of the whole green-eyed soul type, blue-eyed soul type thing. So.
Green-eyed soul, that's the new stuff right definitely. There. I love it.
So that's why Dragonfly caught my eye, asked me why. You flirt with the water, but somehow we own to the sky.
So do you have any shows coming up? I mean, we can plug that later, but...
I've taken a little bit of time off recently just to sort of focus on production and songwriting. I'm looking to hopefully put out some projects here soon, so yeah.
Okay, all right. We'll learn more about what you do, but the reason you're here is that you've been driving for 8 months, right?
Yeah.
You have to have at least 1 or 2 crazy stories, I'm thinking, no?
Yeah, definitely.
Little something.
Definitely.
You're willing to share with everybody, huh?
Okay, so the first crazy story I have, I was actually subpoenaed to court for twice, and then I had to go in as a witness to basically an incident that I was involved in, I guess. So,
what?
so the way it started was I pulled up, and of course, like, this is how it always happens for me. It always ends up being like the last drive of the night where you're like, oh, no, just do one more and then I'll go home. Like, it's always that way. It was a night that my songwriting team got done a little bit early, and I was like, you know, my girlfriend's at school, got a couple hours to kill, I'll just put in a couple rides. I was in downtown when this happened. I live in the valley, so I actually had a passenger bring me like a mile away from my house, so close to my house. I called my girlfriend, I'm like, should I just come home? Like, how far are you away? She's like, oh, I'm like a half hour. I was like, all right, I'll do one more ride. You know, probably won't take me far at this time of night. As I'm pulling up, I have my windows cracked. The girl's kind of like right up here, and another car stops on my driver's side, and I hear them go, did he just break your phone? And she's like, yeah, he did. And they're like, that's messed up. And then they drive away. She gets into my back seat, and I can tell she's upset, you know. I start driving. She goes, you know what, can you stop? Can you pull over right here? Like 100 feet. We hadn't gone far. She gets out. She's like, I'll be right back. Kind of goes out of my view from my mirror. Right after she leaves my sight, she comes running back. She comes to my window, and she goes, keep an eye on me. If this guy punches me in the face, call the cops. What? I'm like... I literally don't know what to say, and she just leaves, and I'm like, okay. So again, I'm kind of just like watching. I don't really see anything. I hear all this.
Were you waiting for her to get punched?
No, I mean, I was just like, I didn't know what was going on. I know, and her stuff's in my back seat. She leaves all her stuff in my back seat. Just expected, okay, she forgot something. Hopefully she's running back. I don't know.
Right.
So next thing I know, I hear all this glass breaking, like. Then this guy comes walking up, no shirt on. Comes walking up to my passenger side. I'm like, at this point, I'm like locking my doors. I'm like, oh, hell no. He comes up and he's like, all right, bro, you can't go anywhere. He starts taking down my license plate. He goes, this is on you now. And I'm like, what do you mean this is on me? I don't even know what's going on.
Right.
And he goes, she's killing my dog right now. She's stabbing my dog.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what the is going on? The next thing I know, I see her coming up on this side in my mirror, and she's holding this tiny little white dog and a knife.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, and in my head, I'm just seeing like blood dripping from the dog. It was, of course my head went to the worst place.
Yeah.
They're kind of like going around the car a little bit, not fully, but he's like trying to make sure I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere at this point. And she comes up and she's like, can you take me home? I look and I see obviously the dog's not hurt, thankfully.
Yeah.
She's like, please just let me in the car, take me home. And I'm like, I can't take you home. Like I can't leave. He's called the cops. He's giving them my license plate number, all this stuff. So I'm like, I can't go anywhere until the cops get here.
Right.
She's like, well, just let me in the car. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, who's the aggressor here? Like, is he? Initially, I'm scared of him, but now I'm a little bit scared of you. And
the dog.
Yeah, it's crazy. So,
cleaning fee.
So she goes, okay, well, can you at least give me my purse? And I'm like, yeah, this sounds a lot better because now I don't have any tie to you in my car.
Absolutely.
Of course, she has the world's most gigantic purse. So I go to like roll down my window to give her this purse, and she starts sticking her hand in my car to like get to
unlock?
To get my door open. So I put my hand over the buttons so she can't, push the buttons. So she realizes that and goes straight for the handle. And so she opens my door. I think I had my wallet in the side or something at that point, so I was like, oh, let me grab that. She unlocks the door, gets in my backseat. Again, she still has the dog and the knife, and he's still kind of like walking around the car. And at this point, I'm calling the cops. I'm like, she's like, just take me home. And I'm like, I cannot take you home. I'm not leaving. Eventually, she got out of the car. The two of them chased each other around. She tried to get other people to take her home. She was just trying to get anybody out of there. The reason I got subpoenaed to court was because I guess he actually pressed charges on her.
Okay.
So the reason they kept asking me to come to court was because they had a case against her, but their main guy wasn't working with them. So then they were using me as the witness.
What?
Pretty insane.
Did you go?
I had to go to court one time. The next time, they were pretty cool with me. Like, they tried to work with me. I was like, this is time that I could be out on the road, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so they were cool. And the second time they put me on call,
did you offer a testimony?
They never had to. So the day that I went to court, this super swift, slick-dressed lawyer walks in for her and, like, starts talking to her. And then the next thing I know, like, they told us to come back, like, another day. And I got it moved. It was just really funny. I was like, damn, this guy.
It pays to have an attorney.
It does.
Shoot.
Definitely. So that was fun.
That's crazy. So, like, what were you thinking when she opened the door? Did you think that, then sat in the back seat, did you think she was going to hurt you, or?
My mind never even went there. Like, I carry things to keep me safe. My mind never even went there. I never was really, like, scared for myself. Like, the funny thing was, because she kept telling the guy when she was in the car, she's like, if you call the cops, I'm going to stab the dog. And I turned around to her and was like, do not stab the dog. Like, looked her in the eye and was like, do not stab that dog.
Right.
Because one, I'm thinking, like, I don't want the dog to be dead. But two, I'm thinking, like, I don't want a bunch of blood in my car. Like, come on. That's. What's
the cleaning fee for blood? I don't know.
I don't want to know. Yeah.
I'm done. I'm done with the car. You can have it. I'm just leaving it there.
My last trip of the night, which should have been a 5-minute trip, ended up being like a 45-minute trip.
Oh my gosh.
I had to give a statement to the police that night and stuff like that, but that was it.
How long did you drive after that? Like, did you jump in the car the next morning like, yes, we're going?
No. God, I was so stressed out. Like, the amount of adrenaline that had gone through my body.
Yeah.
I was just so exhausted when I got home. I think I, like, slept in really late the next day. I don't think I drove. It was probably a good couple days.
Yeah. Because you kind of need that time to incubate and just be like, what happened? I don't know if I'm making the right life choices. Right.
I chose this position.
Yeah, right.
I chose to be there.
Right.
And that's how it is, too, because, again, it was, like, the last trip, so you're like, I'd made that conscious decision, and that's what I was dealt. It's like, sometimes I don't know if I'm being greedy with the decision to like take that last trip, and then sometimes it's like, well, maybe I was this time. Maybe it was a little greedy.
My worst trips have always been that last trip of the night. It's always been like, you know what, you go home, or you can hit that incentive, or you can just get just a little bit, let's crack 100, or whatever, and then just wild goose chase. You've been driving for 8 months. Would you have responded the same way?
I think I probably would have, because I think it was just pretty natural.
Okay.
I don't think I had much of a reaction other than to just sort of like part of me wants to say that I would have like let her in my car quicker because she might have been in trouble. Like, but then like I said, there came a point where I was like, who's really?
You're right. Who's the aggressor? Because
yeah.
you brought her to his house, right?
Well, not even, because that's where I was picking her up from. Because we were literally had gone like 100 feet up the road.
Okay.
What I assume happened was they got into a fight at the house. You know, he broke her phone. She was leaving. But
oh my God.
Yeah, I really don't think I could have done anything totally different. You know, I tried to keep headlights on them to at least be a witness of what was happening, so that if anything crazy did go down, I'd at least be able to tell the story.
You had a front row seat.
And as I'm talking to the 911 operator, she's like, man, you Uber drivers, you know, if you could write a book from the calls that we get from you guys, like, it would be insane.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so apparently I'm not the first
oh
to
my
call.
Gosh. We need to get some of those tapes.
Good.
That's a show right there.
Yeah.
We need somebody on the inside at 911.
Definitely.
Holler at us. So how about anything else? You got anything else juicy?
Yeah. Okay, so I rideshare for a couple different companies, you know, Uber and Lyft.
Okay.
And you talk a lot about, you know, what's going on with the settlement and all that stuff. And a lot of people are pretty upset with sort of like what they're making right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely have seen that.
Yeah.
The amount of time that I've been working for the company, I've seen periods of time where I was scraping pennies going out. I remember right after things so dead that week, and I was just like, what I will say is that I have noticed that both companies, you know, are quick to sort of like come up with whatever excuse they can to get out of paying you an incentive or like a referral fee.
Have you had any issues with that?
Yeah, so when I signed up for Lyft, they really, really shafted me. So initially they set me up with this, what they called a mentor session. So I was supposed to kind of like, you know, I assumed somebody was going to like get in the car or like turn on the app, show me what to do.
That's what the mentor session is.
Yeah.
You meet with the mentee.
Yeah. So that's kind of like what I expected. They'd given me a guy's like, you know, picture and number a few days ahead of time, told me when to meet him. I went there. I had called him actually before the meeting, and he never answered. It always said, you know, your driver's unavailable. I go to the place where they told me to meet him, and there was nobody there. And I'm calling the guy, and again, no answer. I called him probably a few times, started, you know, texting Lyft, you know, the support, trying to get a hold of them. Of course, like, you know, they don't respond immediately. So after like a half hour of waiting, I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I'm Google searching like numbers to call for Lyft, you know.
Right.
And I end up with this like emergency line, which is not the line I was supposed to call. Apparently they were like they weren't like upset with me, but they were like, you shouldn't even have this number, like, you know, like.
Right.
So I don't know how I got a hold of this magical number, but I got a hold of this person, and they're like, yeah, so we can see that you're emailing us, but like, we have no way of helping you right now, so we'll note that you're having this issue, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. It took them 2 weeks to email me back about that, which I was like ridiculous. So within that 2 week span, I was like, well, screw this, I'm gonna go sign up for Uber. So I started driving for Uber, drove with them for a few months before I was like, okay, well, I'll sign up for Lyft, because I just had a bad taste in my mouth. I was like, you know, screw you guys. And when they did finally contact me after the 2 weeks, they told me, well, we don't do mentor sessions anymore. Now you just have to get your car inspected, and like somebody will kind of tell you what you got to do.
Oh, wow.
But they're not going to like do a whole session, you know. That was kind of weird. But then what's interesting is, so when I decided, okay, I'm going to go ahead and give them another shot, I emailed them, and they go, okay, we're going to set you up with another mentor session.
Huh?
And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of weird, since you guys don't do that anymore.
What? Right.
What it ended up being was just basically, you know, an inspection. Somebody was there. They were talking to a whole group of people.
Oh, wow.
There was like 10 drivers. They inspected the car, and then I ended up being late because they didn't give me a time. It was just like, yeah, now you just go and you just talk to the guy. He's there from this time to this time. So I just kind of walked in.
Yeah.
And he's like, they didn't give you a time? And I'm like,
That's
no.
So different than what I went through.
It was really weird. Yeah, and different than what I went through with signing up for Uber, too. Like, signing up for Uber ended up being very easy, you know? And then this Lyft process was a nightmare. Sorry, to backtrack. So I had, when I reached out to Lyft to give them, you know, again, like I'll call it a second chance or whatever, I said, you know, I want to drive for you guys, but you guys kind of screwed me before, so, like, I basically only want to drive for you guys if you guys will honor the current referral.
Right, okay.
So, which was awesome at the time. It was like $5,000.
Oh,
you know,
wow.
So it was massive. Yeah. So, like, I'm like, this is something that I can definitely like get down on, and I can use that money right now. So
Okay.
I was like, I'll give you guys another chance for that for sure. And they were really cool about it. They were like, yeah, just sign up. We'll give you like until this date to sign up. So I went in, I signed up a few days before that date. Then 2 days after that date, they emailed me saying, hey, you know, your background check's all good. Again, after confirming with the guy in person, I'm all good for this incentive. A couple days before this date, I'm finishing up with you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be good to go. And
Right.
he's like, yes, you're all taken care of. You're going to be good for the incentive. So I thought everything was fine. And then, 2 days after when they emailed me that I had been accepted, I sent them a follow-up saying, hey, I just want to make sure one last time I'm ready to go starting on my 1,000 rides today. And they were like, well, you actually got accepted 2 days after the date we told you because your background check. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I did everything that I needed to do by the date, by 48 hours ahead of the time that you told me.
Yeah.
And, they were like, well, because you weren't accepted until 48 hours after that.
But that's not your fault.
Yeah, it was totally not my fault. Yeah, I spent 2 weeks with them fighting. I went through representative after representative after representative. If you're adamant and you are confident in what your case is and you won't back down from that, generally they'll work with you. I actually have a friend who kind of works Lyft, and I hit him up. I said, is there any way you can help me? And so he was like, well, it's not really what I do, but I'll talk to somebody in the office that's in pay, and I'll see if they can help you.
Okay.
Apparently that person said, well, he's talking to the managers, he's talking to the people he should be talking to, and if they're saying no, it's a no. So at that point I was just like, not only did they screw me out of the incentive, but then they also screwed the driver who gave me that referral code too. Not only did they jip me out of my 5,000, I think they were going to give him like 1,000 too.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and I get it from Lyft's perspective. That's a lot of money to be giving out.
Yeah.
But
you did everything within your power, and that was on them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, did you get any bonus or guarantee at all? You didn't get anything.
Nothing.
So it was all or nothing. They couldn't give you anything at all.
And what's interesting too is, so then my girlfriend does a little bit of ride sharing as well. So I, again, kind of bitterly referred her because I'm like, we might as well both make a little bit more. And what they did with her was they actually paid me and her per ride.
What?
So they said, okay, she has to do, I think it was like 100 rides in her first 30 days, which is not that hard, but she doesn't do it a whole lot.
Right.
So I think she ended up doing like 70 rides and didn't even complete the 100.
Okay.
But what they did was every time she did a ride, they added like because I think it was 100 rides for $600. Every time she did a ride, they just gave us both $6.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah, it was super weird. I was pleased with it because I was like, I got a little bit concerned, when like half the month was gone and she hadn't done it. I was like, shit, like we're not gonna get it. So, but then I was like, oh well, we've actually been getting paid for it, so that was kind of nice. But it doesn't make sense that they wouldn't do something like that for me, or even something smaller, even just
like a 500 or something like that. Like that, to me, it seems like they put more energy in telling you that you shouldn't, or you're not going to get this other bonus. But what about what's currently going on? We're here in Los Angeles. There's bonuses for every single driver, and I don't know why you wouldn't qualify for something. I just feel like somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah. Well, and then even just as a courtesy to show me that I'm valuable,
and we want you to be a part.
They say that on every, and it's always this cookie cutter, copied and pasted response. Oh, you're so valuable to us, and I've literally started replying to them every time they say that.
Yeah. Stop
sending me those.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear that. Like, because
apparently not as valuable as
as
I think.
You're not really because you won't show me it. You'll just say it. You know, and that bothers me. So
wow, that's deep.
So, there's fun and there's frustration, but that's with anything.
And the cool thing about it is that you turned around and you referred your girlfriend, because a lot of people do miss that window. I have folks reaching out to me all the time that say, hey, I didn't get the bonus. And for Uber, you have at least 15 days to initiate that missing driver referral bonus. But if you've already missed it, completely, you can still sign up someone else. There's somebody that sees what you're doing and they're interested and they're like, hey, or you could create a YouTube channel and you can share information like me. Maybe you might do it, Justin.
I might.
And you might be able to sign some people up. So there's opportunities for you to make money outside of just driving and hitting the road. Have you ever thought about doing food delivery?
Yes, I signed up yesterday. I went to the green light location because I was like, I don't want to deal with them. I sent them a message saying, hey, the eats only option.
That was like 11 emails in.
Option. I actually watched your video on doing that because I was like, what's the verbiage that I need to ask? I don't know if you get this, but oftentimes when I go in and I submit a thing, it's usually through that, like, I have another account question because it's not really like, there's nothing that really fits what I have to say.
Yeah.
So I always end up kind of typing in what, and I swear to God, they don't even read it the first time, and they send me some bullshit. It's like, oh, I saw that he mentioned Uber Pool in this one, so we're going to send him the generic, when 2 passengers get in your car, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so I literally have started just getting kind of sassy with it. I'm like, no, like, I can tell that CAD didn't read my email, and I can see that, so what I want is an answer to this question. I'll literally copy verbatim what I said, and then I'll get somebody who will know a little bit more about it, and of course they're all apologetic. We want to show you how much we value you, and I'm like, well, you can show me by this.
Yeah, they love to use that word, don't they? Value.
So,
look, my common response is, did you even read my email?
I say that.
Did you even read my email? Like, what are we doing right now?
It's crazy.
So if you don't have like the tenacity to advocate for yourself and to go back over and over and over, you're gonna lose every single time. If I'm trying to solve a problem, it takes me at least 5 or 6, I'll say 5 or 6 emails in this direction just to get my point across. How about yourself?
Absolutely.
What do you think?
Yeah, at least 4
Isn't that
or 5,
crazy?
Like,
Yeah, 4 or 5, it's like...
The first one's always bullshit.
Yeah.
And I think the last time I emailed them, my second message to them in response to the first message was, do not send me this regurgitated trash anymore. I do not want to hear copied and pasted responses.
Boy,
Answer my question. I'm so sick of it.
Justin's like, do not send this shit to me.
After 2 weeks, like, it got to the point with that Lyft situation where I'd get the email from Lyft and my blood pressure would go up, and I'd be like, oh, I'm ready to fight, you know, because I knew that's what was going to happen. They were fighting me, and it was just like, I felt so taken advantage of. I felt taken for granted. I felt, you know, and I said all those words to them and they did not budge. So
Lyft.
It only goes so far.
Yeah, it goes down, doesn't it? It goes down in the DM. What is it, like the support DM?
Sure.
So how has Rideshare like helped you in what you're doing? How has it enriched your life? How have you manipulated the situation to work for you?
So I was doing the whole starving artist, working as a bartender, server, you know, that whole thing. I was actually working for a restaurant that closed.
Okay.
It was a blessing in disguise for me. You know, I was at that point with my art where I was so focused on, you know, I just moved to LA. I was so focused on making rent every month and adjusting to living here and shit like that.
You forget about why you moved here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I started realizing, you know, hey, this is like the perfect opportunity for me to stop working this double shift at the restaurant thing and start working on what I want to do. So that's when I actually approached my songwriting team and asked them to mentor me as a producer. And so that's kind of when I started driving for Lyft, and that's the greatest part is being able to be in a city where, first off, I know the city way better now too. If I need to go to a meeting somewhere, I know exactly where it's at, and probably about how long it's going to take me to get there at whatever time of day it is.
Right.
And you know, like, it's just so flexible. So if I have somebody that needs to schedule a session, I know that I don't have to call a boss and say, I need this day off. It's just, I can take the time, I can work around it. What I'm hoping to see with Eats is that those down times for driving in the middle of the day kind of pick up because people are ordering food at that time. At night when it starts to drop off, people are getting their dinner. So that's what I'm hoping, those times where I'm
in
seeing
and
like,
out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the best part. And then of course, just networking. Like, I've met so many awesome, I met you know, like, there's so many people that I've met doing this, and artist's manager in my car, and I was just like, this could be a life-changing moment for me, you know. And I was able to get her information. That's definitely a a position I wouldn't have been in.
So are you like forcing people to buy your music? Are you like turning it on and?
No, I'm not that guy. I'm not like the one that's like got it on lowly when you get in the car. So you're like, oh, what's this? I'm usually just like, I try to talk to you organically. I usually have something badass playing so that you know that I like good music, and then I try to talk to you about what you're doing, because everybody here is doing something. That's what's cool about LA. And so if I can find out what you're doing, maybe I can see if I can help you in some way or be a part of it. And so that's what's so cool about it. You never know. And I've met so many, my current songwriting team, one of the songwriters, I met her like my first week driving for Uber.
Wow.
She's like, oh, I'm a songwriter too. We lost contact for a couple months, hit her back up, and now we're working together every week. It's crazy.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's definitely put me in contact with a lot of cool people. Not directly, but it's put me in positions that have definitely kind of put me in contact with really, really cool people. And
it really helps you. Like, I mean, you come off as a person who's just really comfortable around people anyway, but I know I can be a little shy, and it's helped me to just be fearless with any and everybody, like at any moment.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Cool,
like,
because there's you encounter every type of person too.
Every type of person.
The standoffish, because there's the people that are shy that are like more scared of you than you are of them. And that was the first thing when, like, the first week when I started driving, and I knew I was timid.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'm letting this stranger in my car, and then I think my first trip was like these two tiny little old ladies, and I was just like, oh, this is perfect. Like, this is not scary at all. And I could tell that they were like scared of me. They were like this stranger driving us around. So I was like, oh, okay, this isn't that intimidating.
Oh my gosh, that's a perfect way to put it.
But yeah, it's definitely, it's got its benefits, it's got its frustrations, like I said.
Right.
So, but back to your question, I guess, about playing my music. I usually, again, if I ask you what you're doing and then you express any indication that you would like music, then I usually will be like, oh, hey, I'm a musician, this is what I do. And then if I don't turn it on unless they express interest. Because if they're like, oh, that's cool, then I usually know, like, you're not that interested in it, or, but if they're like, oh,
turn
cool,
that
like,
Drake up.
what do you make? Yeah, what kind of music do you make? Like, then I'll be like, oh, would you like to hear something?
Yeah.
Because I don't like to be that guy, but you have to be that guy in LA.
Sometimes
to some
you
extent.
do.
Shamelessly promote yourself to a certain extent.
This is true. You can't be afraid of it, because like you said, you may have just one chance to meet like some amazing person that can connect you with someone else. But one thing that I heard you say is like you think immediately like, how can I help this person? How can I add some value before you think about yourself? And I think that's awesome. Yeah.
I don't think it's always been that way for me.
Okay.
I think I've been in a few situations where, not purposefully, but just, not understanding the way of like business or whatever. And I've definitely kind of taken things for granted. And so I definitely don't want to be that type of person now. And I think in LA, once I realized that everybody's out for themselves.
Yes.
If you can, again, add something to somebody, then there's more of a reason for them to even give a shit about you. Because I remember coming out here thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play a show and there's just gonna be an audience because everybody's out in LA to listen to music. Well, no, a lot of people are out in LA to like make music, but they're not out to support everybody else's music. They're out to support themselves.
Exactly.
So to get that relationship with somebody, you have to be able to mutually benefit each other in a sense,
That's perfect. That is it. People say, oh, it's all about who you know and networking out here. It's really about relationships.
Yeah.
It's really about, reaching out to people, not wanting anything, checking in on people. I'm thinking about you. It's really about building a relationship with someone and staying in contact.
Yeah.
It's really going to, if anything, get you further ahead and linking with other people that may be able to help you.
It's true.
Yeah.
An adverse example, because I'm not always the best with keeping in touch with people, but it shows when you don't keep in contact with people and then you hit people up, because people in LA are always constantly changing. Like you were talking earlier about the rideshare lifespan is not that long. So somebody that you met ride sharing 6 months ago might be doing something completely different now. And that's true in any environment or any job out here. And there's people that I've met that I'm like, oh, like there's an A&R that maybe this guy can kind of put me in contact with somebody, and I hit him up a month too late and he doesn't work for that company anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like you really have to kind of keep in touch with people, and it has to be organic.
Yes.
because I...
But please tell us, like, what are you working on? Where can we find you? That sort of thing.
Okay, so currently, like, a few different projects. I'm working with one team that's making music that we're hoping to pitch and sell to major labels, artists. So we're making a lot of urban music, so it's a lot of R&B, a lot of like trap.
Nice.
One team that I'm working with, we're working on a lot of TV film opportunities, so we do kind of whatever type of music comes through that direction. And then for myself, I'm working both with like local artists that you know call me and ask me to produce things for them. So I've got like some local artists that have projects that I worked on coming out soon, and then I'm working on an EP right now for myself. I do like little releases here and there on SoundCloud, like singles for free.
Okay, we'll have to link
like
that.
I actually just released one 2 days ago.
Really?
A cover, so you can check that out on SoundCloud.
Okay.
All my social medias and stuff, you can find them through my website, JustinErinn.com. It's ERINN.
Okay.
And everything's like the first button you can click on there will take you to all my music. I do have a YouTube channel that you can check out. I do live covers and things on there. I'm hoping to sort of like vamp that up. I've since I've started focusing more on production, done less of like the acoustic singer songwriter videos that I've done on there.
Okay.
And what I'm hoping to do is kind of now transform that into a little bit like, you know, to where I'm producing beats on, you know, like live streams and things like that, and adding that on there, so you're kind of seeing the process as it's happening.
That's
which
nice.
would be fun. Yeah, most of the stuff that's on the SoundCloud right now is instrumental.
Okay.
But
and you play all your own instruments, right?
I do. So all the beats and stuff, I do like the drums and keys and stuff like that, and guitar, and that's how I play as well. So when I play, I'll kind of trigger all the electronic elements, and then guitar and vocals are played live.
So you're
it's
like a
very
one-man
fun.
band. In a
Yeah,
way.
kind of like, so if you, again, I don't want to compare myself too much, but like Ed Sheeran, you know, because it's kind of got that singer-songwriter pop vibe, but with like a hip-hop kind of R&B influence as well.
Okay.
So it's very fun. And it's, I do focus a lot on the writing. I'm a very like emotional, moody, I'm a Cancer, like I'm, you know, so like, you're like, uh-oh. You know, I do focus a lot on like the songwriting aspect and the storytelling aspect, so a lot of it I would like to think has, you know, substance to it. That's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna do a little rideshare something at any point?
Yeah, I might.
Maybe with UBEREATS, like starting with
that
Uber
would be a
Eats,
good
you know,
idea.
like it's Justin Erinn's, you know, migration or transition.
Should I do
to-
a new channel?
I think
Or should I
so.
edit? Okay.
I'm a person who likes to separate everything, but if
I'm
you
kinda
like,
like that too.
yeah, I like to compartmentalize. So
Cool.
So by the time we have this up, we'll at least have a link so people can subscribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Okay. I think that's it. What about
Yeah,
you?
I like it.
The kids are yelling and stuff, so. All right. Well, if you like this video, you know what to do. You got to give us a thumbs up. Definitely got to follow my boy and support his music and everything he has going on. And it sounds like he might have a channel too. So definitely go and subscribe and support him as well. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, what are you doing? What am I doing? I don't know. You got to subscribe. You got to stay in contact. You got any last thoughts?
Thank you so much. This is awesome. This is so much fun.
I love this. I'm
is
so
cool.
happy. You have no idea. Like, I'm so pumped. And I'm going to leave this video.
Cool.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Take care.
All right, thank you.
When the rain starts to pour, I'll be there for you. Like I've been there before, I'll be there for you. Like you're there for me.